All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the In My Tesla podcast. So, I have a question for you. You ever heard of a class action lawsuit?
Yes.
Okay. For those that have never heard of a class action lawsuit, I'm gonna give you the my interpretation definition based on what I've seen. Class action lawsuit is company F's up.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's getting money.
Everybody's getting enough
they've
fun.
done-
I'm getting money.
They've
Yes.
done so many people wrong at one time
Yep.
in one instance, or probably over multiple instances. So now a bunch of people are most likely due some cash from them.
Yes.
But there was this park in New Jersey
Yes.
throughout the 1980s and I believe the beginning of the 90s
Yes.
that was called Action
Action
Park, but it had the nickname of Class Action Park.
Yep.
Now, the reason it had this nickname, this park was literally
Off
one
the
of
fucking wheels.
literally off the wheels. We'll get into that in a second. It was one of the most deadliest parks,
Yeah.
and it was also just full of daily injuries, like through the roof. Minimum, I think they were saying on a one given weekend they had to save maybe 30 people from drowning. They had
Yeah.
over 100 injuries, like not just regular nicks and
Knacks,
bumps.
Yeah, no, like people. There was
Scrapes,
like
there was
about
blood.
5 to 10 people every day who went to the emergency room during the summer season because of that park.
If you're a survivor of Action Park and you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love to hear a crazy story, because I'm not gonna lie, I would have wanted to try out this park at least one time.
You wicked.
You wouldn't have wanted to try this out at least one time?
No,
No?
no.
I would have.
Knowing what I know now, no. If I didn't know before, maybe. Just maybe. But I'm a little, like I say, I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat to it.
So the park was initially created by a guy. I said a guy named Eugene. I'm trying to read his name. Eugene Mulvihill.
Mulvihill, yep.
Eugene Mulvihill. It was initially a ski resort, but then, as any wise businessman would notice, during the summer months, nobody's going skiing.
No snow.
So he decided to turn what was this ski resort into like a water park.
Yes.
In 1978, he added like water slides and it says here that he also added a go-kart track.
Mm-hmm.
Now, upon doing that, like he saw that people were like coming in boatloads. So
Yep.
of course he saw the opportunity, and it literally became. It says here that it became one of America's first water parks.
Actual water parks.
Water parks, which I did not know. And you already know the first iteration of anything is gonna be like
Wild.
not the safest.
Yeah.
Because you're still working out the kinks.
And then like you also want to like take advantage because you're the first.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you wanna
really
send it.
want to do it.
You wanna
really
send
want
it.
to send it. You know, and I think that's what he was trying to do. He was really trying to send it.
So apparently, it's funny you say that he was trying to send it. I read somewhere that it said he wanted to take the idea of skiing, which is in which that you have control, and apply that to a water park.
Well, just a park overall.
Well, I think initially it was supposed to be a water park, and then eventually, because there was the go-kart track,
Right.
they ended up adding in extra rides and extra things onto it to make it just an action adventure park similar to Six Flags.
Six Flags,
Because
right.
Six Flags
It
was
was
their
too
only other.
expensive.
Yes, it was too expensive for
Yeah.
like the immigrant demo that they had in the area. The people in the area were mainly, I think, Hispanic and Polish.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
there was a lot of immigrants. So like
Yeah.
a lot of the times, right, they going to Six Flags with their entire family was way
too
more
expensive,
expensive
yeah.
than
Just
going
going
to
to
Action Park.
Right.
So it had a 200-foot sled track that, first of all, had asbestos on it. But what didn't have asbestos back then?
Back in the day, yeah, everything had freaking asbestos.
So patrons would go down on a sled with no protective gear and
No
only a
helmet.
handbrake that
Yep.
had two settings, slow, and the other one was called
It was like the deaf speed or something
Deaf
like
Speed.
that.
Well, the workers at the park named it Deaf Awaits
Deaf awaits. There you
because
go.
that you're going so
Yeah.
fast with no protective gear.
And you know what's funny? A kid that was 19 years old that worked at another park actually died there. On that slide, the Alpine. What is it? The Alpine slide?
I don't see the name of it right now.
Yeah, I think it's the Alpine slide. Like basically there was a kid that went down the slide, and he was going so fast that he flew out of his sled, and he ended up hitting his head on a rock and ended up dying.
Well, yeah, he was in a coma for like the next 8 days and then ended up dying.
Yeah, he was
so
like
that was
19.
the first death.
That was the first death
at
of the
Action Park.
Right. There was mind you, there was other shit before.
Actually, no, I'm lying. I think that was the second death. There was a kid named George Lopez who was 15 that the wave pool. And first of all, wave pools are dangerous.
Yeah, and
if you don't know how to swim.
Right.
Like straight off the bat, if you don't know how to swim, that's who it's the most dangerous to.
Right.
Then it's kids in life vests, and then it's anyone that gets too close, which is why a lot of wave pools have the cutoff point and have so many lifeguards. But apparently they had 12 lifeguards on duty for this wave pool that this person died in. They had 12 lifeguards on duty. They brought in and on average, they would have to save on a busy weekend, they said 30 people from drowning.
At the wave pool.
Do you know what the average is for the average lifeguard, like at the beach or the pool?
It's probably like 1 or 2 every day.
No.
Like
0 to 1
exactly.
annually every year.
You see what I'm saying?
They don't even have to save that many people in a year. So the fact that they were saving on average 30 people from drowning, and I think
in the summer, mind you.
Let me read out the specs of this freaking wave pool, because this wave pool specs were
the wave pool was crazy. It says the waves went up to a meter,
yes,
which is about 3-4 feet.
Yes.
Which is insane. Like, that's my height.
Yeah.
Like,
well, no, that's not your height, but it's.
Well, it's not my height.
If you don't know how to swim and you go to the deep part, yes, that would be over your head.
Horrible.
So, let's just take a look at this, right? The wave pool, or the grave pool, as some of the workers started to call it, was 100 feet wide, 250 feet long, can hold up to 500 people, and you know that they was packing 500 people in that shit. Nowadays it'll say max capacity 500 people, and they'll get to like 220 and start cutting people off.
All right.
So it can hold up to 500 people. Jeez. Yes, the waves were about a meter high, so you remember that from the documentary.
Yep.
And for 20 minutes waves went on. I'm not gonna lie, when I go into a wave pool, I wish that the waves came for longer. 9 times out of 10, it only comes for like 5 to 10 minutes.
There's a freaking reason why.
There's a reason why. They learned from Class Action Park that waves crashing for 20 minutes straight in a pool of 500 people and people thrashing and pulling each other down.
Okay, first things first.
It's not safe.
Fitting 500 people, fitting max capacity at a wave pool is the dumbest thing you can do. Do you know why? Because there's probably, I'm going to say right now, no space to move. No space to swim. No space to go anywhere. And mind you, I experienced it when we went with my sister to the water park for her birthday, because she's afraid of going into the waves. And we went a little bit further than we should have. So, then she wanted to.
Then she wanted to. Yeah.
Mind you, she had a life vest on.
Yes.
So she was like already being a scaredy cat, so we put the life vest on her, and she was just like, I don't want to go. I pushed her to go a little bit further, and when the waves came, sis freaking drowned me. I would like throw her, and then after I threw her, she'd freaking push down on me to be up from the wave. I was like, bro, I damn near drowned like 3 times. So now imagine.
I think you ended up getting a sty. You ended up getting a sty in your eye because of that. Because the wave, you said the wave crashed in your eye.
The wave
hella
crashed
hard.
into my eye so hard that my eye felt so. It felt like I got punched in the eye.
And then you grew a sty out of it. That's fucking crazy.
For all these little kids peeing on that pool, I'm not fucking surprised.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
I'm not surprised.
You know what I think
and mind you, I washed myself very well at the thing, and I came home and what? No.
Well, it was a little swollen because you got hit, and then over time, as that swelling went down, it started to swell up again, and then it was a sty. But I think that the reason that you got that was maybe, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an eye doctor. I think your eye got hit so hard that it probably like, I want to say like a mini cut probably happened, or it got
Maybe.
irritated because of the hit, and
Probably.
then that irritation allowed the dirt or whatever
And then the
from the water
chlorine and all
to
that
get into your
stuff.
eye,
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
Who
Because
fucking
I
knows?
like I didn't get anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're gonna go back, so I don't wanna.
But okay, but now imagine my situation with my little sister drowning me. But now imagine 500 people around you, and now mind you, they're not just all keeping hands to themselves. Of course, they're gonna freaking push and shove and all that stuff when these waves are coming.
And they were drunk, a lot of people, because apparently at
That's
this
the other
park,
problem.
alcohol was like, you can get alcohol almost anywhere. They sold beer almost anywhere, and the rules were very lapsed. So
Yeah.
there was not only a lot of adults that were taking advantage of it, because they're like, here we're at this basically free-for-all zone of a water park where I can drink and legally drive. We're gonna get to the go-kart in a second, but now I can also be drunk, and there's a bunch of shit going on. It's basically a big party, and apparently workers, they said that the workers in this
Were also
documentary that we
drunk.
watched, a lot of them were under the influence of alcohol while watching the patrons go
So,
through death traps.
I mean, of course.
It said that the way that the wave pool was also designed, so it's 100 feet long, 250 feet wide, 500 people can hold in it. It's up to 1 meter high waves for 20 minutes straight. The waves are coming with only a 10-minute break. Now it's the opposite in this day and
10-minute
age,
break.
but back then it was
Jeez.
nonstop almost. 12 lifeguards watching this amount of people, and the way that the wave pool was also designed, it said that it can suck people into the deeper part.
Oh,
So
hell
the
no.
farther that you went up,
The more you got sucked in.
the more you got sucked in.
Jeez. That is
So
not
if you
good.
were the type of person where you were an adrenaline junkie and you kind of just went up to the front to, oh yeah, I want to, get the blunt force of the waves, you get up there and there's a high chance that you can get sucked into the even deeper part.
Or you're gonna get sucked into the wall.
And apparently there were not a lot of ladders where you can get out. And I
Yeah.
mean, nowadays there's not even a lot of
No.
ladders where you
There's
can
like
get out.
probably like 1 or 2, 3, max 4.
Exactly. So now imagine out of 500 people, if even 50 people were crowded around 3 or 4 different ladders.
Not good.
Not good, So
Yeah.
so yeah, and unfortunately there was a kid named George Lopez who died. He drowned in the pool because he got sucked into.
Well,
the,
there were a lot of people that ended up either drowning. A lot of think about it, right? The park was in the first place. The park was marketed to a lot of immigrants, right? Most of the time, these immigrants who are attracted to this park and who is advertised to, they don't have the funds or the time to learn how to swim. So they're just gonna go and want to have a good time, but you don't know how to swim. So
Yeah.
of course you're gonna have to get saved when the wave comes.
Yeah.
And then now to top it off, like, let's say there are certain rules that you have to follow, and it's on a big board, on a big little sign, or a big sign on the entrance of the wave pool. If you're an immigrant, especially during those times,
Then you couldn't read the sign.
odds are you're not gonna be able to read the sign because you don't fully understand English.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
I think that was like, not that was rare, but that was not the main thing. My guess would be that would be like 10 to 15% of the people that went.
My
was that.
guess was that it would be about 45%.
But also, the owner even said that there's much more about this park.
There's a shit ton.
There's much, actually, before I say what the owner actually said, because that part is a whole thing within itself.
And then
Then
yes.
Jeffrey Nathan, who was 27, died. There was something called the kayak experience.
Yes.
And he,
oh my God.
like, apparently any water activity that involved like a machine or a boat that you were in leaked gasoline.
Mhm.
So people would get like inhalation sickness
Yeah.
from inhaling all that
or
gas.
or their skin would get burned
Or the-
if like water would come
Yeah.
and like splash
and
their
splash
arms
on
or
them,
legs.
that in the sun and the water, that
Right.
would burn you.
Yeah.
And then sometimes on this kayak experience, they said, it's a flimsy ass ride. So sometimes you'd have to step out because sometimes the kayaks would get stuck on like these rocks because they put rocks in there to replicate when you're out in the wild and you're like whitewater rafting or whatever.
Right.
So sometimes you had to obviously step out to reset.
Or sometimes you would fall. A lot of people
fall.
would like flip over on the kayak.
So this guy, he didn't fall out. He stepped out to reset, and he stepped on apparently what made these waves go so aggressively were these underwater fans.
Yes.
Now, obviously, they're not just gonna have the fans exposed. They'll have like a covering over it. So most likely, it was a grill.
Yeah,
so
it was
there
a
was a grill covering one of these underwater fans. He gets out, steps on the grill, and the grill electrocutes him. And he has cardiac arrest, and he dies on the spot, which is insane. Insane that can happen. That shit just, new fear unlocked.
Yeah, literally.
New fear unlocked.
Yep.
Because, damn, like, something as simple, like, you would think that you'd probably die if you were reckless on a ride. But now imagine you're not even reckless.
You're being
and
careful.
You think that you're safe because you're getting off of the rocks. And then you step on something you can't even see. You didn't even know was there. So, you know, so that happened. One of the craziest rides to me. This shit is fucking funny.
It's not funny.
This shit is funny as fuck. There's two of my favorite rides.
Oh
right?
my goodness.
Two of my favorite rides. This was called, I need to get this right. The Bailey Ball of Steel. The Bailey Ball. So the Bailey Ball was a steel sphere with, what the fuck is the name of that?
The big ass
You know
ball
what?
that
No,
people
no, no, no,
get
no.
in, like the hamster ball type of thing.
Yeah. So now imagine a hamster ball
made out of steel.
Right. With, when you go to the supermarket and there's the fucking...
There's the what?
There's the cart.
Yeah.
You know the wheels at the bottom of the cart that turn? They can turn any direction.
Yes.
They had they had a ton of those fucking wheels all around the sphere.
Not a good idea, bro.
All around the sphere. And then they put you on a track and roll you down. That way, you're rolling all around while you're strapped inside the sphere. So now, one day, an inspector...
No. So before the ride even opened up, they had to have inspectors come and sort of look at the ride to make sure that it's safe. And, of course, no one gets injured. So as long as, the first time someone rides there and the inspector's there, no one comes out injured or headless or whatever, the inspector will approve it. Go on.
So... the inspector shows up and they're showing him this ride, but apparently because of the heat that day, the pipes on the track expanded,
right,
making it larger and giving the ball enough space to roll off of the track. And that's exactly what happened. This dude is strapped inside this sphere. He's going down the track. The ball rolls off of the track, rolls into the parking lot, through the parking lot,
into the freaking
across
highway.
the highway into a swamp. The inspector said that the inspector watched as the ball came to a safe stop across the highway, packed up his shit and just left without saying a word. Like, y'all are insane.
You're not getting approval.
Y'all are insane for showing me this shit. I'm just imagining the stages of his reactions, because
at first he's probably like, yo, this shit look interesting. And as it started rolling out, he's like, okay,
interesting
all
my
right.
ass. I think off rip he was like, that emoji with the eyebrow? This shit, his fucking eyebrow was probably like...
Nah, he was probably just trying to be chill with it. Who knows? I don't know who the inspector was, but he was probably trying to be chill with it. Be like, all right, let's see what this... I don't think nothing bad will happen. And then you see the freaking ball come down, and then they don't slow down. That's when the question marks start going up in his head, like, whoa. And then once he sees the shit fly out, then he starts panicking, like, what the fuck? Once it gets into the highway, he's on full panic mode. But once it lands in the swamp, he's like, yeah, I gotta get the fuck up out of here.
You know what else, though?
They put me on a ride and I end up like that.
You know what else, though?
What?
To be honest, that can't be the first piece of bullshit he saw all day. I think he got to that park, walked through, saw all the fuckery. All of it. And got to that ride and saw the sphere with all the shopping cart wheels all over it on a fucking track and was like, I know y'all not dead ass.
I know you're not serious right now.
Then they strap that poor man inside. And he's like, well, maybe this will be fun for him, right? Maybe they look like they've done this before. And then he proceeds to roll off the fucking track. And he was like, yeah, nah.
I gotta go.
Yeah, nah. I don't even need to tell y'all that this was bullshit.
No.
You know that
this was bullshit. You know this was not supposed to happen.
And you know what's crazy?
No, I'm not gonna approve this shit.
You know what's crazy?
What?
Going back to the wave pool for a second,
Mm-hmm.
they had a similar instance. They hired a lifeguard
Oh yes,
to consult
they did.
about the wave pool, and he could not handle the stress of the craziness of the scenario that they were trying to get him to consult on.
So he just fucking left.
He just fucking left. Imagine not even saying you're going to the bathroom. Imagine you're just packing up. People think you're going to the bathroom, and you just walk out and
Yeah, it's like your first day at work. You see some bullshit. You're like, yeah, I gotta go.
You know, I did that for a job one time.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't my first day. It was like my third day.
Uh-huh.
It was like my third day at work. Quick story. It was like my third day at work. Damn, should I say where it was?
No, just give a brief overview.
It was at a retail store that was very popular, that has a bird as a logo. They sell a lot of beach stuff.
Okay.
All right, good. Right?
Enough.
So I worked at this store, and at the end of the night, you know, I thought when all the clothes were packed, because, you know, in high school when I worked at Macy's, after all the clothes were folded and your area was clean, you could go home. So I thought it was the same thing here. So I cleaned up everything, and I'm getting ready to go home, and they're like, whoa, where you going? I'm like, the store's clean, isn't it? Like, what's going on? They're like, yeah, but we actually clean the store as well. I'm like, what you mean by that? They're like, they handed me Windex and fucking vacuum. So they're like, which one do you want to do? I'm like, yo, there's no janitors? Like, we're the cleaning crew, the security, and the workers? What the fuck?
This is wild.
So they're like, yeah. I'm like, nah. So now I'm already thinking in my head, like, because mind you, I already had a full-time job at the time. I didn't need this job.
Right.
I just took it because I was being greedy. I wanted like extra cash. Right. And I walked into the store one day and they're like, hey, you look like you fit the bill to work here. Do you want to work here? And I said, fuck it. And they
Why
said,
not?
You can make your own hours. I was like, fuck it. I'll take the extra money. Free money. So now I'm thinking, I'm about to quit.
Mm.
So they're handing me the Windex and they're like, do you want the vacuum? I'm like, you know what? Vacuuming is more fun. I can at least act like I'm Ghostbusters. So I was like, yeah. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I could listen to music and I could ghost bust the floor. So cool. They hand me the fucking backpack. I look like I'm a Ghostbusters dude. Have my hose. And I'm all right, I'm cleaning. Yo. Out of nowhere, I'm starting to notice that, like,
the air
is getting a little foggy. So I'm like, damn, like, I don't know what my young brain was thinking. I was thinking
this is undeveloped frontal lobe mind.
Yeah, this is so I don't know what my mind thought. But for another 5 minutes, I proceeded to vacuum the floor and bump my music, right? I'm bumping. And then I start coughing a little, right? Then now I'm really looking up and I'm like, yo, the air is really thick. So I'm really looking around. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Nah, for real. So now I'm looking and I'm like, yo, shit, this is dust. So I'm like, yo, where's all this dust? Who's beating a dustpan? Dumbass, right? Who's beating a dustpan in the air right now? Then I go, no. I take off the fucking vacuum, dog. The vacuum is open.
Wasn't it broken?
Broken. It was
Not
broken.
open.
It was broken. So it was leaking. It was shooting out. Whatever the fuck I was dusting up, whatever I was vacuuming was getting shot back into the air. Mind you, you know how much mouse poop I vacuumed?
Oh, hell no.
That was the first day I realized that we had mice.
Oh,
I
hell
didn't know that the store had mice.
You should have known. I worked at that same mall, and
it.
I told you I saw a dead mouse.
Yeah, but that store that I worked in looked so clean, I never knew.
No, it's just because it's dark.
So I'm vacuuming, and then I'm turning corners I never looked in. I'm moving clothes. I'm like, damn, there's a lot of mouse shit. Whole time I'm breathing that shit in.
Ew.
Instantly, put down the bag, put it on the floor, No, no. I'm lying. I put it back in the back where they got it, because I didn't want them to be, oh, he left it on the floor. So I put it back in the back. I was like, all right, I'm done vacuuming. I picked up my shit. I left. Straight like that.
It was the vacuum for me, but
Yeah, fuck
but
that
anyway,
shit.
so that was a lot of the it was a lot of the same experience I'm guessing the people at Action Park had, because there was also another ride.
Yeah, Action Park.
there was also another ride, which was like some cannonball tank tennis ball thing. Right? It was I forgot what the name is, but it's like a tank and it shoots out tennis balls. But it shoots out tennis balls at a fast ass speed. It was like 50 to 100 miles per hour. The ball was moving, not even the car, the ball. So when like people at the park would try and come fix stuff.
No, you said 20 miles?
No, I said like 100 miles.
Yeah, it was 90 90 miles an hour.
It was like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's a ball. It's a freaking ball. So it's shooting out at fast base, and it's like probably gonna fucking hurt if it hits someone. So the employees would go there and try to clean up stuff or fix stuff, and they would get hit by these tennis balls, and they would actually get fucking injured. They'd have like blue and purple bruises all in their body.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would quit too if I was at Action Park and that shit happened to me. I'd be like, what?
Apparently, a lot of the employees said they had a great time working there though. Like,
well,
it was
yeah,
a blast.
It
was basically like a summer party every day.
Well, if you're drunk, of course it's like a summer party every day.
Yeah, because they had like a back room that they would like fuck in and drink beer and have parties. Just do random teenager
and then
shit.
Outside of the cannonball thing, in the land area, what they call the land games, the land rides, there was the go-karting. And the go-karts were dangerous as shit.
Because apparently somebody could take a tennis ball and there's like the speed limiter that limits it to the speed that they want you to go on the track.
Yeah.
Apparently people realize that you could take a tennis ball and put it at a specific spot in the machine.
Yeah.
And it would stop the limiter, so you could go like 90.
You could go like 50, not 90, 50.
No, you could go up to like 90.
Really?
Because on the track you can go 50 because
on the track,
because without flying off the track, you could go like 50.
Okay.
But apparently one night one of the workers snuck in, put on the limiter, and went out on the highway and took it for a joyride. And for an hour, the cops chased him at like an average speed of 90 miles an hour. Yeah. So that's how they knew the shit could go 90.
Wow.
Because one of the workers did that shit.
But no, like think about it. A go-kart going 50 to 90 miles per hour is insane. Like, that's barely the speed you could go on a highway in New York City. Yeah. So now a go-kart, this tiny little thing going freaking 50 to 90 miles per hour, do you know how dangerous that is?
Not to mention, they said that the backs of the machines that held the gasoline were a little bit fucked up.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'd be behind somebody and literal fucking petrol would come out of this machine and splash you like it's a fucking squid in Mario Kart. Like, what the fuck?
That is not good.
First of all, that would have been my line.
And knowing how
I would have never went on the go-karts.
And knowing how people be smoking and stuff, like especially back in the day, they used to smoke all these cigarettes and this, that, and the third. Yo, I would be scared for my life.
Exactly. Not to mention, they also said that was designed on purpose. That there was a bar really close to the go-karting because they wanted to like have a space where you can legally drink and drive.
Oh, yeah.
That was the whole purpose.
That was the whole purpose.
And then there was another slide that you could go down that apparently it was so intense of a slide.
Yeah.
It would rip some of your clothes off.
Yeah, it would like.
So then they realized that, like, obviously like a lot of the women that go down, some of their clothes and bikinis would get ripped off too. So they purposely put a snack bar right next to this spot to entice people to go to the snack bar, because then they could see half naked people getting up, putting on their stuff.
Yep.
The last thing is this, right? Action Park ended up going bankrupt.
No. So okay, so then before that we have the water slide with the little circle on it with the little loop.
Oh yeah,
that one was fucking crazy. First of all, they just hired anybody who think that they could design parks. They didn't actually hire engineers, or they didn't actually hire people who knew what they were doing.
It was people at a local car shop.
It was just it was just people at a local car shop that they hired to make this ride. So apparently the ride went down like a regular slide and then came in a freaking loop and then you got out. Apparently, people would either get stuck in the loop or they would bump their heads. So there was one time, I think something happened. I don't fully remember, but I know they had to end up closing the ride because it got too dangerous. When they looked into the ride, they saw that people's teeth had come out and kind of like got stuck in the ride. And basically, since people's teeth were there, teeth are sharp, so people's teeth would actually scratch other people as they were on the ride. So imagine getting scratched by teeth on a ride.
And you think it's like just the nails that's holding the ride together, but it was somebody's.
It was somebody's freaking
somebody's fucking molar or front tooth stuck in the fucking.
What?
That's insane.
That is insane. And then the Action Park afterwards, because of so many people getting injured and so many lawsuits, they ended up going bankrupt because they were having issues with that whole scenario. But there's one important detail that we have to remember. Action Park, like any other park, needs insurance. With the insurance, it was way too expensive to actually put insurance on Action Park. And what the owner ended up doing was he created his own insurance that he put the park under, and then he put an insurance to the insurance. So technically, not the insurance that the owner created, the insurance that insured the insurance would pay out all these lawsuits.
No. The way he designed it, it was like... It looked like insurance money was covering the damages, but it was actually out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Which is smart on his part.
Right.
Because he doesn't have to pay high premiums.
Yeah.
Most insurance companies, they're going to charge you a high premium every month, every quarter, every year. And then on top of that, you might have to pay for shit out of pocket. But no, he was like, fuck that. I'm just going to pay for your injuries out of pocket, period. Because think about it, it's not going to add up to that much.
No, it's not going to be that much.
And because it's technically through an insurance, it's still cheaper than if somebody got hurt and just went to the doctor and then
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah. So that's what he did. And the government saw that he did that, like when the class action lawsuit hit, and they were like, nah, buddy, like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah, but
this shit is way too dangerous.
His entire point was, well, I paid people out of pocket, so you can't say that I defrauded, because I did not defraud anyone.
Yeah,
I paid out of pocket. But I mean, yeah, the park ended up getting closed, and then the park ended up getting sold to investors, and then it was renamed Mountain Creek, and then in 2010, I think. It got sold back to his son, to the owner's son, and he tried to open it and rename it name it Action Park. It had apparently failed, so he renamed it back to Mountain Creek in 2014, and it's been open ever since.
I think 2016 is when.
No, 14.
Really?
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah, so it sucks. I'm gonna name a few of the people that ended up dying. So there's George Lopez, Donald DePass, Gregory, I can't pronounce his last name, Gregory Grandchamps, George Mason Jr., Jeffrey Nathan, and I think that's it for that. But then there was also all the people that got injured, and apparently they had some mysterious liquid that they'd pour on your injuries.
Yeah.
It was made out of like 70% alcohol, 10% iodine. It was red, and apparently even some of the toughest people would scream like a bitch when they sprayed that on you. So yeah, Class Action Park was no easy walk in the park at all. If you were a survivor of Class Action Park, I'd love to hear a story in the comment section about your time there, because that had to be a sight to see. We'll probably never see something like that again.
Nope.
But yeah, that's it. Until next time, like, subscribe, share. Take care.